Welcome to Issues with Cartoons, the podcast about comics and cartoons. My name is Kyle.
My name is Carl.
And today you actually have a visual aid for the show today. Carl and I are both cartoonists, and we are both big fans of obviously comics, cartoons, but also TV shows. And we just watched the trailer for the new Disney Plus show Daredevil Born Again, and we are very excited. So we're going to draw some Daredevil and talk about Daredevil a little bit. You in for that, Carl?
I'm down. I'm already drawing.
Oh my gosh, I need to catch up. I'm flying. My setup has me flying very blind. Well, sorry, I shouldn't make puns like that, but that was not on purpose. I cannot see Carl's drawing at all. So at the end, I will pull up my screen and see what Carl is up to. But
That's fine. We can just discuss Daredevil week,
yeah, so this is a good time to announce. In addition to our coverage of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes that we started this past Monday for all of you, we are also going to be releasing a whole mess of podcasts in which we cover various comics featuring Daredevil. And that is going to be released the week of Daredevil's release. So actually, if I were to pull up my calendar, so March 4th is the release, and we have 8 shows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Sunday, the 23rd of February, expect the first episode to drop. We're gonna start our coverage with Spider-Man the animated series and the 2-part Daredevil episode, Framed and Man Without Fear from season 3. And then every day after that until the release of the first episode of Born Again, we're going to pretty much be all Daredevil all the time. And we've already recorded it. It's in the bag now, and um, I think they turned out great. So we're very excited for you guys to listen to it.
Yeah, we talk about a bunch of iconic Daredevil stories. We talk about Man Without Fear. We talk about Daredevil Yellow. It's just a plethora of Daredevil.
Yeah, actually, I have the books, most of the books right here. So I don't have the one we covered for the second part of the Spider-Man 2-parter, but we have Daredevil 1 featured here in the Essential Daredevil. We're also covering Amazing Spider-Man 50 through 52, which is the first appearance of Wilson Fisk's Kingpin. We're also covering Daredevil Yellow. We're covering Daredevil: The Man Without Fear by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. and Al Williamson. And then we got 3 different issues from Frank Miller and Klaus Jansson's run. And then we also additionally have the namesake of the TV show, Daredevil Born Again, is going to be our last entry into Daredevil Week. That night before the show premieres. And I've listened to just about all of them, and they're great conversations. We had a good time. So I'm excited for you all to hear it.
Get a lot of our deep thoughts on Daredevil Born Again,
that was a great conversation. I love talking about.
Yeah, that's a great comic. I mean, like I love having the opportunity to go back and revisit that one.
It was fun reading all of them. Honestly, I had a great time. I really did have a great time. I'm trying to get some inspiration here now, actually. But yeah. So Carl,
yes,
you and I just watched the trailer for Daredevil Born Again, starring Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, and the whole gang.
Right.
What did you think?
I'm very excited.
Oh yeah.
Especially after watching the trailer. I think my big takeaway from it is the setup that is present in the trailer.
Yeah. Yep, I'm a big fan. I love the I don't, have you ever seen Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so that diner scene with Fisk and Murdoch gave me kind of Heat vibes, where it's
I
like
can see that.
these two begrudging enemies having a conversation where they're being cordial, but like it's for sure like they hate each other, even if they might respect each other. It reminded me a lot of that, but um, can't really overstate how excited I am. I really think it's going to be different from anything else we've been seeing from Marvel, especially lately. And it's going to feel, but at the same time, it's going to feel just based on that trailer, very familiar and comfortable to fans of that show. So
Yeah.
it'll be good.
I would argue that was, that was one of Netflix's most popular shows at the time. And even when it got
Oh
canceled, there was almost like fan outcry that it even got canceled. You know,
yes,
like
yeah. And
due to the
when you
reputation.
say Netflix is most popular, you mean like Netflix, not just like Marvel's of the Marvel
Oh yeah,
shows. Like I feel like of all the shows that Marvel put out or Netflix put out, I feel like that one stood above uh, most of their content. Um, so I'm excited.
I don't know how you couldn't be after the trailer. I love that Kingpin's the mayor and stuff. Like what a
Yeah,
great like. It's one thing to come back with the show and just do another season of Daredevil versus Kingpin, but it's cool that they shook it up so much. Like we're gonna get like Kingpin's the mayor, you know.
which is that a Brubaker thing? I'm trying to remember who made Fisk the Mayor.
It's definitely from the
In comics.
comics. It's definitely in the
Yeah, they've done it in the comics before. I feel like lots of different Marvel characters have become mayor of New York. Um, but we talk about in our conversation about Born Again, the comic. We talk a lot about how that whole book is kind of about Matt struggling with the system sort of turning against him,
right.
and this champion of the system, this lawyer vigilante who kind of has to dance between the raindrops of being a champion of the system and kind of in direct opposition of the system. Um, and I feel like having your arch enemy as the mayor is a perfect setup for that kind of theme. So I think it'll be a good time. But we're burying the lead here, Carl, because I knew it because I'd seen production stills from the show, but I don't think were aware of the major return that is featured in this trailer. Do you want to talk about your boy showing up?
Yeah, quite a surprise for me. Punisher I showing up. Definitely a fan favorite character, and I'm glad they had an opportunity here to recast him, obviously, and they didn't.
That would have been a mistake,
Yeah,
obviously. Well, and we can talk more broadly about the mistakes they almost made that they wisely course corrected because originally Foggy and Karen were going to be. I think the rumor was they were going to be killed off screen, um,
I heard
and
something like that.
Matt was just going to feel bad for them dying, and that was going to be their presence on the show. And like, I don't even know how you justify that decision from the jump, them just killing them at all, but also uh, killing them off screen just seems insane to me.
Yeah,
So
I can imagine the
obviously,
backlash with the fans. Like
oh yeah,
the fans would have freaked out. Like if they killed Nelson off and Karen Page. Yeah, the fans would have been really upset. I'm sure.
as if those characters don't go through enough, like just the disrespect. Um, so I'm glad. I love Deborah Ann Wool as Karen, and I'm glad that Oh, is it else? I want to get his name wrong. Holden, I think is his last name. Foggy. I'm glad they got to come back and take another turn
Me too.
with the characters. Um, it would seem too separate from what came before to do a show without. Can you imagine a Daredevil show without Nelson and Murdoch in it at all? Like
I can't
that's so
imagine.
true.
Like. Here's my opinion. You can take away Karen Page, sure. I mean, like
Yeah,
Karen Page dies, but like
right.
Foggy, not replaceable in my opinion. Like you need Foggy in there. If you're gonna do Daredevil, you need Foggy. He's like Jimmy Olsen to Daredevil.
Well, and I'll stick up for Karen a little bit and say like I think killing Karen was a mistake in the comics.
Oh,
But that's mainly colored by my reading of Daredevil Yellow. Honestly, I think if they had taken what Loeb and Sale were able to do in Daredevil Yellow and apply it to main continuity, um, I think I think fans would have had a much harder time than they did with her dying. Um, but I also understand like as she was. Most people didn't care about her. And I feel like the show's done a good job of differentiating her from just kind of like the very vanilla character that was in the Silver Age and adding a little bit more of the Frank Millerisms and complications to her character. Um,
I would argue that a
I-
lot of the first three seasons are all from Miller's run. Like not all of it,
90,
but most of it.
90% of it.
Yeah, like most of it, and even the first movie
Sure. Oh yeah.
as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, that first movie was the Elektra saga with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. But
That's right.
uh,
That's
I'm
right.
I'm I'm doing my rewatch now. I'm only through most of season one at this point. I am not fully caught up. Um, I've rewatched it before, although I haven't rewatched all of it before. Um, so this will be the first time I'm going to try to rewatch the whole show since it aired. I'm excited. I mean, it's incredible. Season one is spectacular.
Yeah, it's they really captured that whole like it's almost like I'm watching oh I don't know like the Blacklist or something, but it's a superhero show. You know,
Yeah,
it's like has elements of a suspense thriller and
yeah,
stuff,
it does.
but it's but it still has the classic Marvel stuff we all love too.
I mean, some of the stuff they get away with on that show, even like shows like The Blacklist, would never like you would never see James Spader crushing a dude's head with a car door. Like,
Yeah, no,
you
that
know what I
wouldn't
mean?
happen. You're right.
Like, or like, some of the stuff, just some of the violence has so much teeth to it, and it makes it really gripping. I mean, it's there's a reason so many people love that show. And I would be interested to know actually, and I know I think I probably know the answer, but I have to imagine that the number of new fans that came to Daredevil from that show is probably pretty big. It's probably one of those rare kind of watershed moments in comics where like there's like a piece of media that brought new people to a character. Because Daredevil hasn't had a ton of media exposure outside of the Ben Affleck movie. So
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of adaptations, which we talk about a little bit on the
we did.
podcast. Issues with cartoons now available on Spotify, but
And YouTube.
and YouTube as well.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the first couple episodes. If you haven't listened yet, we went ahead and gave you a little meal with two episodes dropping on that initial release. There were lots more to come. Carl and I have been working very ahead,
Nonstop.
um, and so we're happy to finally put it out in the world and um, and get your guys' feedback is what I'm really interested in.
Kyle,
I really
who are you drawing right now?
Oh, I'm drawing Matt Murdock. I'm drawing Daredevil.
It's fitting because I'm drawing his arch nemesis right now. Can you take a guess?
God.
Well, he is Catholic, but no, I'm drawing Bullseye.
Excellent.
That's a good guess,
Sorry.
though. It's a good guess.
Well, I mean, God won't leave Matt alone. He's just that's why I assumed. No, I knew who you meant. It was either going to be him or Wilson. But I think that was one of the cool things about revisiting um, like the Frank Miller run was just seeing kind of that whole dynamic unfold between those two, where like Matt saves him and everything, and
Oh,
we
the
actually don't talk
escalation.
about that much on the show.
Yeah,
And like,
there's the fight in the train station, and it's kind of like there's a train coming, and Daredevil, like a Catholic, is telling Bullseye to kind of renounce his ways. He's like, I'm only going to save you if you stop killing so many people. Like, I'm tired of you going out, breaking out every time, and just killing a bunch of people. You got to change, Bullseye. And Bullseye
right,
agrees. And
and he resents Matt for it. Like
yeah,
he hates him for saving him. So before anyone gets mad at us for talking so much about Catholics, Carl is a Catholic, and so
yeah,
you know
yeah. It's all
he's.
in good fun. Yeah, there's nothing.
I'm not allowed to make jokes, which I know I just did, but Carl's allowed to.
Look, there's been a
Uh,
lot said over the years.
yeah, there have been.
Just,
Uh, I'm debating on whether this is the right pose. I feel like I'm being a little too safe with it. So I may pull an audible after I render this a little more.
I like it.
I'm
There's
a,
some good depth going on with it. Daredevil's kind of
oh,
running towards you.
thank you. Yeah, I feel like Daredevil's such a graceful character. Like I have the cover to Man Without Fear, the trade in front of me, and I don't know. I feel like he's such a. It's interesting because he's like a boxer, but he's also a ninja. So he's got that kind of acrobatic kind of grace to all of his movements and
Definitely
stuff.
true.
Um, so I don't know. I like this angle on his face though. I do enjoy that. Um,
I've
you
never
know what I want
drawn Daredevil, or not Daredevil. I've never drawn Bullseye before. This is my first
to
time trying Bullseye. Well,
have
it's
you
just,
drawn Daredevil before?
I think in a sketchbook, but not really. I don't think so. Not like as an adult. I don't think so.
I have a couple, but honestly, the couple that I've done, and they're on my. I think they're both on my Instagram. Well, at least one of them is. I don't think I've ever really been satisfied with my Daredevil drawings. There's such a specific magic to that character that I'm still having a hard time capturing. Um, but I'll figure it out. I just have to do it more.
I know I can
Oh,
draw sadistic, so Bullseye was the obvious choice.
yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for you, Carl. You
Well,
know,
I could draw a crazy person.
draw what you know.
Yeah, if I could definitely make the drawing look crazier too. I was like, if I mess up really bad, I'll just make them like really, really stylized. But I kept
Sure.
some real enough proportions here. It's fine. I think
Well,
I don't
this is my first time. This is my first time drawing in front of an audience, so you're all about to see just kind of how uh, I don't know how all over the place my process is, but
know.
um,
It's all in the open now. No more secrets.
no hiding. Yeah. Oh well. This is what you came for, I guess.
No, they came for Daredevil.
That's true. No one came for us. Although now
Look,
that you're here, you might as well just enjoy the show. But
it's the week without fear.
the week without fear is pending. That's right. Recording that was a lot of work. Like the prep, especially for that, was a lot of work. But man, we had a good time. I mean, and you can tell listening to those episodes. I hope everyone listens because you can just tell we're enjoying ourselves, and we enjoy ourselves with our Avengers coverage, undoubtedly. But I think with Avengers, Carl is not an Avengers reader, and I am. So a lot of a show is just me being like, Carl, isn't this great? And Carl being like, yeah, I think so. And then with Daredevil, we're both fans of the character. And so it's a lot of like, man, this is great. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's a
so
mutual respect for the character that's present.
mutual and just enthusiasm, I think. So those episodes, I think especially are like I listened to the Daredevil Yellow Talk. Well, I listened to a bunch of them today. The Daredevil Yellow Talk. I feel like we do a nice job. It's you and I have a great conversation about that book.
Tim
So
Sale, I just want to say real quick that like Tim Sale for me is a childhood favorite, and like
oh, yeah.
definitely was a huge influence on me as a kid, and like one of the creators that got me into comic books.
If you read comics from like 1990, what six through 2010, maybe. I mean, Tim Sale's got to be one of the guys that I would be surprised if there are many people who read books from that era who haven't at least read some Tim Sale. Certainly, anyone who's a Batman fan has read Long Halloween. Um,
I think I mentioned this on the podcast, but he's one of the like few creators, like Frank Miller included, that like leave comics and kind of have a career in film. You know,
yeah,
developing stuff. Like Tim Sale developed a lot of the art for the TV show. It was like a superhero drama called Heroes.
yeah, and if you're our age, you know what Heroes is.
Yeah.
It was a big deal when it came out, like a network TV show featuring superheroes. That was an original idea, and there was a character named Isaac Isaac, who was an artist whose paintings predicted the future,
Love
and
that.
the art the art that they used was Tim Sale's art. And in fact, I think I even had a Heroes comic because, of course, they made a Heroes comic.
Of course.
I don't think Tim Sale did interior work on it, but I know it had an Alex Ross cover. I'm pretty sure there was a Tim Sale cover. But I mean, if there wasn't, there should have been. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's only a handful of guys you can say who. I mean, a lot of guys do stuff behind the camera who we don't know about, but as far as like making a name to where like general audiences know you uh, by name as an artist on a project, there's only a handful of people who are like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's very few that have crossed over
Yeah.
all the way.
Like Mike Mignola is one. I don't know. We can go into the whole list, but
Yeah.
we don't have to do that.
Yeah. Tim
All
Sale,
right, Carl.
great guy, great guy.
Oh yeah, thousand gone too soon.
Yeah, I agree. All right, what do you
Yeah.
got, Kyle? What's on
Okay,
your
I'm at a crossroads here, Carl.
okay?
Which Daredevil am I drawing?
Oh, because now you have the choice, right? You got the pose you like. Ah, decisions. I like he's kind of leaping forward. It's very John Romita Jr. of you.
Well, thanks. Well, I do have, like I said, I have that right next to me, so that's helpful. He might be a little too long, actually. It's hard to. I don't have my desk propped up like I normally do. It's okay. We'll be a little abstract with it. I'm gonna do yellow. I'll tell you what. I'll do it on two layers. I'll do a yellow and I'll do a red.
I'm just like adding my little details of that. I might break out my crow quilt for a little bit. Let's do it.
Oh, listen to you. Listen to you. Really making me look good. Really making me look good.
Break it out here. I'm just old. All the kids are gonna watch this and just be like, who is this guy? What is this?
No, we were talking
This is
before we
ancient
recorded
technology.
all the kids are going to be like, "Who's that fogey using the using the analog tools?" And then all the like purists are going to be like, "Who is this hack drawing on an iPad?" That hack is me. I am the hack.
Oh, look at that line. Look at I'm like, sorry guys, I'm a little Bob Ross during streams. I'm just like happy, happy, happy.
That's nice though. People need that. The people need it, especially when they're coming off of that Daredevil trailer and they're feeling good but like also kind of worried because Matt's probably going to screw his life up again.
I mean,
um
the only thing I was worried about was Disney. I mean, like I heard all the stories
sure.
they fired all the writers, right?
Yeah,
That was early
well,
on.
because like we mentioned, like they were going to kill off all the cast and like it was going to be
Right.
very very different from what fans were hoping for and used to. And then someone came along and said, "Hey, why are you doing it that way?" So
Was
fortunately
that
for us.
oh god, Kevin Feige? Was that Kevin Feige?
Kevin Feige.
Might have been. Who
Maybe.
knows?
Well, here. Okay, I don't know. I better be careful. Here's my thing about Kevin Feige. I love Kevin Feige. Comics loves Kevin Feige. Fandom loves Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige has the greatest gig in the world because anything that goes right for Marvel, everyone's like, "Oh, thank God for Kevin Feige," you know. And then whenever things go wrong, it's always someone else's fault. I just don't know
Like
if that's a
Eternals.
real. I mean, yes. Honestly, the whole. I'll tell you, a great example is this. All of the hand wringing about the state of Marvel right now,
Mm.
and people keep laying it on Chapek and Iger on Disney for overstretching Marvel. Which is totally true. It's what happened for sure. Uh, I don't hear anyone saying like, "Oh man, Feige should have, you know, done a better job." Everyone's just like, "Well, at least Feige saved it." I'm like, I mean, he's still in charge. I just, I want to believe that Feige is the hero of nerddom, but I also think he kind of gets he gets a free pass more than I am used to seeing fans do. Like not used to fans giving people a free pass like that quite as much.
That's a
Um,
good point. I mean, I've seen them come down, like fandom come down on other creators much harder, and I think that's a really good point. It's valid.
yeah,
It's a valid point.
like I don't know. We're not going to name names because I'm not here to make anyone mad. I just
Yeah.
and you and people can disagree with me, and a lot of Marvel fans probably just tuned out, and I probably lost them. But uh, I don't mean it. I don't mean it to be disparaging towards Kevin Feige because I love Kevin Feige. He's done more for comics than some people in publishing who are
I
there
mean,
right now.
honestly, yeah, that's you could totally make a case for that.
And that's why he gets a free pass is because you know of the um of the goodwill he's garnered over the last decade or more. So um but I could be wrong. Maybe he is the one who saved Daredevil Born Again. I'm sure Charlie Cox played a role in making things right.
Yeah,
He's got such a reverence for the whole character and um he's a good steward for that character. So I'm sure he helped steer the ship in the right direction.
oh, I'm sure too. Like, imagine you got brought back for such a high profile gig, and things just weren't quite.
Yeah, they got rid of your whole supporting cast and
Yeah, things weren't clicking. Because I heard a rumor initially. I want to talk about this. I initially heard it. We can move on from the beginnings of the reboot here, but I initially heard a rumor that this would be in a new continuity.
I heard that rumor too, and I'm glad that it doesn't seem to be. Well, what that rumor happened, and then like anytime they would ask Vincent D'Onofrio, he would be like, "Oh no, I'm playing it like it's the character I've been playing." Like,
Yeah,
I think there was pushback from the creatives,
I think so too.
which there should be. I mean, those guys invested years of their lives into crafting characters that people really loved. Um, so you need to have people kind of standing up for the art that you make.
This episode has some really good ASMR going on. You know, I'm like scratching the paper and stuff for you. You know,
Yeah,
ASMR
listen to
listeners.
this Apple Pencil glide across the glass. It's really nice. I don't regret it. Anyway, um,
So, what do you? What are? Do you have any predictions for the show? What are you looking forward to the most about this
yeah,
season?
you asked me that on the pod, and I think my answer is kind of the same. It's been so long since I've seen season three. I actually don't remember a whole lot of it. Um, but I think what I'll say is I hate these lines right here. I'm going to take those out. I think what I'll say is maybe not predictions, but I'll tell you what I hope happens. And my first hope is that we get we take advantage of the fact that um, they're making a Disney Plus show, not a Netflix show, right? Like I'm hoping we take advantage of the fact that we have the Marvel universe kind of in our backyard now. Like we have access to characters and and they've done a little bit of that already just by virtue of including characters like White Tiger in this show. Um, like a classic Marvel character who I don't think has ever been adapted in live action. But Daredevil has his own corner of the Marvel universe. It's true, but he also has a lot of very important connections that have never been adapted in live action, and I just hope those get some play. Like we talked about how he appeared on She-Hulk. It would be great if Tatiana Maslany came back for a scene. I would love it if Tom Holland showed up. I think that's the one everyone wants.
That is the one everyone wants. Even
Um,
Kingpin
but
wants it.
and what?
I said even Kingpin wants it.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Well, yeah, sure. Well, you have Kingpin right there, and you have the the character that Kingpin owes his whole creation to. I don't know. I hope there's a way to make Matt Murdock feel like a Marvel character in the Marvel universe now that they have that sandbox to play in.
Right.
Um, Other than those hopes and dreams for the project, I'm really just kind of open. I've not read the Muse arc that this is supposedly based on.
Hmm.
Um,
Supposedly, I think it's gonna adapt it. You know, like people before these shows come out always act like these are like direct adaptations, and they never are.
Never.
They never
I
are.
don't. I don't even know what the last like direct adaptation of a Marvel project would have been.
That's what I'm getting
Uh,
at.
I mean, I guess we can maybe brainstorm, but um, certainly, I don't think this is it. I don't know. You're all seeing how bad I am at hands. A lot of a
Hands are
lot of work
tricky.
goes a
Look,
lot of work goes into me faking hands, guys.
any yeah, references. References are key.
References are key. I guess I do
Especially
have these guys right here.
I think
I
I'm
could
done
just
with
use them.
Bullseye. I think I'm done.
Ah, crap. Are you already done? See what I made the mistake of A, I started over, and then B, I decided to do a variant of my own drawing. I think I'm
Cal,
just gonna stick with yellow.
Cal,
I'm just gonna stick.
don't beat yourself up. Okay.
Okay,
Now you
thanks,
sound like a
Carl.
Catholic.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense if you know me.
Catholic guilt. Yeah. Like
All
could
that
do
Catholic
better.
go. No, I could do better. Yeah, all my life has just been I could do better.
I could do better. Catholic guilt.
Yeah, but we also were talking, and this is interesting about when we were reading Daredevil, all the different iterations that we covered, and of course we were not comprehensive. We covered a lot,
Oh
but
no.
even in one, you can't cover Daredevil in 1 week and be fully comprehensive. But one thing that struck me at least was how I had such a strong association with Matt Murdock, the Catholic, having so much symbolism in Catholicism and everything like that. And it really wasn't until Born Again that you really get a heavy dose of that stuff. You get some references, um, but it really took that book to really make it kind of explicit. I thought that was interesting.
All right.
Um,
Be right back. I'm just grabbing another sheet of paper.
all right, before you're back, I'm going to try to finish this whole thing. It's not
Well,
going to happen.
no, no. You're taking
I'm
your
drawing
time.
that.
You're gonna end up with more detail than my bullseye did.
Well, I'm drawing Matt Murdock's favorite part right now. So,
I think I might draw Electra. I think I might challenge myself a little
dude,
bit here.
do that. You should do that. You should do that.
Should do that. Do it.
Do it.
Take that down. Okay, let me find some references. I did grab my Marvel Unlimited here, and
Oh, good.
so I could peruse Daredevil comics while we did this. That kind of cherry
And you
picked.
know what? You mentioning that, this is a good time maybe to say, like, if you are listening to the show, and I hope you are, and I hope you do, uh, we encourage you guys to read and watch along with us. So with
True.
with the Marvel stuff we're covering here in this first kind of chapter of our show, the two apps you want are Disney Plus, obviously, and Marvel Unlimited. Although I'll say also, like, uh, your library will have a lot of these collections, and I think Daredevil and Avengers have both seen physical releases of their stuff. Um, so I hope that you get something out of it regardless. But if you think it would help to listen to our show while you're reading along, I think that would be cool. It would be
Yeah,
cool to make new fans of this stuff.
that's basically like how me and Kyle are running the podcast. Basically, like that's how we're able to read all these older comics. Like me and Kyle aren't going out and buying like Tales to Astonish issues, or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Dude, I saw Tales of Suspense issue on eBay and it was only like $50. And I'm like, oh, Kyle, you can't. You have a family. You have a family, Kyle.
Family. Think of the future. Think of what the
But
missus
anyway,
will say.
yeah, so I'll probably buy it.
Oh my god.
No, I'm not gonna buy it. Not yet. Once I'm rich. Once this podcast takes off.
What's up, Rich?
Yeah, once we start that Patreon and all that starts rolling in.
Then the Man Without Fear cast blows up for us.
Yeah. Yeah. The uh, Daredevil cast. I've threatened to do my own just beginning to end Daredevil coverage in a podcast. I'm not saying I never will, because I really had fun talking about that.
I I think I have a new after all the stuff we recorded and all the reading we did. I have a new appreciation for Daredevil, and I do think I'm gonna say this right now, and you guys can hold me to it, but
Hey,
uh, it's one of the best comic book characters in the superhero world.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, out of
Unquestionably one of the best. Unquestionably one of the best Marvel characters.
yeah,
If you don't want to go so far as to say best superhero. I think Marvel. I think he's one of the perfect Marvel characters. Like he's got the feet of clay. He's got um, an incredible supporting cast and rogues gallery. He's got a defined personality. He's got like incredibly defined personality. He's got an incredible design. Murderer's row of artists and writers who have contributed. I don't. You got to be happy if you're a Daredevil fan. Like he's if not commercially, he's critically one of the most successful characters they've ever published. I don't know many who are as consistent, and we talk about that on the pod, and we can maybe even try to come up with a list here now, but I think it would be a pretty short list. Like who's as consistent?
Hulk.
Hulk. We mentioned Hulk. We mentioned Punisher on the pod. Um, Captain America, honestly, is pretty consistent.
Spider-Man,
Uh,
absolutely not though. They dropped the ball with that. You hear me?
yeah, I hear you. I don't read Spider-Man all that much. I have a little here and there, but
I
I
haven't at all read any of the recent stuff from the last probably decade or so. But like, I was pretty religious.
was One More Day your last run with him?
I want to say like trying to read the monthly. Yeah, like Brand New Day. Like I read some of that stuff because I remember talking to you about some of it, but like New
Yeah.
Sun and stuff. I don't know, just something about that stuff rubbed me the wrong way. I don't
And that's so funny because I actually the only time I really tried reading Spider-Man Monthly was Brand New Day. So I came on for that whole experiment. And I lasted a while. I think I lasted through the gauntlet. Um, or maybe through was Gauntlet before or after issue 600, I don't remember.
know. Oh,
But
Gauntlet. Yeah, I remember that too. Like he fought all the villains and they were like slightly updated.
right.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, that was all right, I
Um
guess. I suppose.
I think I think right now for me one of the things keep well and I'm basically out of reading monthly comics at this point. I've my reading preferences have changed since I was a younger reader. Um, and when I say younger, I mean like in my 20s. I'm much more interested in classic stuff, but also just like reading things in one big chunk in a collection. Um, I'm more prone to do that than I am to just read 20 pages of a 100-page story and then stop, and then a month later have to remember that 20 pages. Um, so all that to say, one thing that I think Spider-Man has kind of become that I don't quite recognize, and people feel free to correct me. Like I said, I don't read it, but as an outsider looking in, he's kind of transformed into this multiverse character.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, you can make that point.
and I Spider Verse. I've been on record saying Spider Verse is a top two superhero movie for me. Like it's one of my favorite superhero projects that have come out in the last 20 years.
RoboCop's better.
Oh, sure. Okay. 20 years, Carl. We're old. It's been more than 20 years. Um, but I mean to say like I understand the motivation. For me, that was never the appeal. Um, you know, he's he's a little more grounded in my mind than what those kind of stories afford him. I think as a deviation as a story, I think it's super fun. But I've had a hard time finding interest in yet another Spider Verse story.
I don't blame you.
Outside of the films.
I don't blame you at all.
But I will say, like reading Spider Man for the podcast, reading that Spider Man 50 through 52 and that Spider Man No More stuff was a ton of fun. I had so much fun reading that, and it really kind of got me thinking I need to read the whole Stanley Ditko Ramita run. Because I've never read that whole thing.
Read parts of it. I've never read it straight through. I had the Mar yeah, the Marvel Essential first
Yeah.
40 issues in black and white, and I read those when I was like 12 or 13 or something, and I loved them. I thought they were great.
I had at one point, I don't think I do anymore. I had the first 10 issues in like the Marvel Masterworks trade. I think those are gone, but um I really enjoyed those. Um oh gosh, this hand is miserable. This hand is miserable. Oh my gosh.
Drawing
Something happened
Electra
to
the
that.
Assassin, who I kind of made the point on the podcast when we were recording for the week Without Fear, all of our Daredevil coverage. Uh,
Yes.
I think one of the things that makes Daredevil comics so strong too is Elektra. It's like you almost have like a whole other character with its own mythology that's spun out of Daredevil and has like a life of its own. I mean,
Yep.
like you could almost just do Elektra comics forever without Daredevil at this point. Like Matt wouldn't need to show up anymore.
Well, they did for a while. Like when we started reading, I remember, and that was kind of a point of contention for some fans, because they were, in their mind, Elektra died, and don't touch her. Like
Yeah,
Frank had the beginning and the middle and the end of her all told, and you need to just leave her alone. But Marvel doesn't do that. And I remember when I was starting to read comics, I would see ads with like that Greg Horn cover art, and I forget who wrote her at that point, but she's had quite a staying power. Um, so well well worth the time it would take to figure out how to draw her. I bet that will be a lot of fun. I'll probably try drawing her when I do my social media art for the Daredevil Week pods. I'll probably do one of
she's
Elektra.
she's another one I've never drawn before. So literally, as we're recording, this is the first time I've drawn Elektra. Oh, you
All
have
right, you
some
got
nice
a
values on there, Kyle. I just saw yours.
oh, bless your heart. Thank you.
Uh,
It's coming along. I'm
yeah, yeah,
figuring
that's
it out.
good.
I gotta try to get a little more crosshatchy look to these. Again, you're all finding out. My whole process is sort of just make it up as I go. Um, and when you talk about like breakout characters who kind of take on a life of their own and kind of become bigger than the book they debuted in. I don't know if she's bigger than the books she debuted in, but certainly she's able to exist outside Daredevil.
Mhm.
And again, I think like characters like the Punisher might be one of the few other examples like that, or like Wolverine, or like characters who like those spin-off characters, those breakout characters who you almost don't even think of as spin-off characters anymore. Like they're so established as being their own special brand. There's a reason it doesn't happen that often.
I think Sienkiewicz may have drawn a more defining Elektra than even Frank Miller.
I still need to read Daredevil Assassin. That is still on my list. I am familiar with some of the art because of that Five Fabulous Decades of Marvel by
Les Daniels.
Les Daniels. Um, I've seen the art posted in that book, and just like on Bill Sienkiewicz's social media and everything like
That's
that.
what I
But
mean. He posts it. He posts it all the time. I'm just saying. I think when people think of Elektra images, they think of Bill Sienkiewicz over Frank. Maybe.
I, you might be right. You might be right. He definitely had an incredible take on her. Um, just with her proportions and her body language being so different from what um, had come before, what people would expect. Right. Let's think about how we want to do this. Spotting blacks is intimidating for me sometimes because I feel like you kind of have to go all in, which is one of the reasons why I draw digitally.
That's what these pesto whiteouts are for, Kyle.
Well, that's what this double tap undo is for.
And I would never advertise for anything unless I was paid.
Until right now.
Selling out is just some people have no soul, you know.
Yeah, God. That's probably what a lot of cartoonists think of us drawing Daredevil.
They're probably like there's like probably people in the Columbus scene looking at us right now like what like posers.
Losers.
I don't
They just want to be 6 years old again, and they'd be right.
I love Daredevil. I don't see a problem with drawing Daredevil at all. The problem is if you were a cartoonist and you didn't draw Daredevil, that would be
What are you even doing? What are you even
the
doing?
yeah.
What do you draw?
That's the issue. I think. Ooh, look at that line. Okay. I don't know if this ASMR is working, but I can certainly
Someone can hear it.
hear it. I have no idea what it is. I'm just trying to sound cool.
What ASMR is? You don't know what ASMR
No,
is?
I
That's
do.
okay.
I do. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding
If you didn't, it's okay. I'll teach you. I'll I'll do a whole explanation right here on the podcast.
around. No, I'm fine. It's cool.
All right, great. Because I would have to probably look up some stuff.
She's got kind of a ninja kilt. Do they draw her inconsistently? Some of these scenes she has like a little kilt thing, and then sometimes it doesn't behave with gravity. She has like a little kilt that comes under her belt, but in some of the pages it disappears. And there's
It's
this
so interesting.
there's this one page where she's throwing a ninja kick and kicking bullseye in the. I'm gonna hold it up so people can see it. Uh, she's kicking bullseye. I'm like, where's her kilt that's over here? It disappears. I don't. Continuity in comics doesn't exist. There you have it.
Doesn't just people worry too much about it.
It does not exist.
Kirby would change people's looks from issue to issue.
Oh yeah, and we talked about it in our Avengers coverage. You know, from Avengers 1 to 2, and like Avengers 2, Hulk has what 3 toes?
Three toes.
Uh,
There's a little preview for next week's episode. No, not next week's. Next week's is that's where we cover Hulk 1. That's not Avengers issue 2, but one of the episodes that we will talk about Avengers issue 2. You'll get to hear our where we discover on air that Hulk has 3 toes, and we scramble looking for other examples of him having 3 toes and could not find any because they messed up.
yeah.
Oh, even the pros mess up, kids.
Kirby.
Even the legends. Even the legends.
Kirby was just probably like, oh man, I have to get this book out. I have to feed my family.
What probably happened? I would love to find. I would love to go back and look at who inked it because I'm about to throw that inker under the bus, and I probably shouldn't. But he probably just drew like a quick figure,
Mm,
and the inker was just like, "All right, so in this sketch, like it kind of looks like he has 3 toes. I'll just give him 3 toes."
right.
That's how I imagine. That's how I imagine it happening. I don't know if the anatomy on this lighting is accurate. I'll tell you now. I don't care.
It's kind of hard to. I think it's kind of for our viewers, kind of a little bit hard to see Electra here, but I'm trying my best. It'll become more visible as I ink it.
Probably does.
Let's see.
All right. I think, Carl, I'm going to, well, no, I'm going to spot some blacks on his chest. Because that's always something I forget to do. And then after that, I'm going to just go in there and color it. And I want to call it done. Can't, can't do that. Can't do that. Boop. All right, here we go. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about this, everybody. Oh, no, that's not good. Try that again.
Ooh, that mouth. That mouth's sorry, I'm getting a little quiet. I'm drawing the face right now.
Listen, it's ASMR.
I have to use Matt Murdock's radar sensors right now to figure out.
I got to the episode recently where you see the Netflix show's version of what Matt sees,
Mm-hmm.
where he's like a world on fire is kind of how he describes it.
Right.
And part of me almost wishes, and this could be controversial, part of me almost wishes we didn't see it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, from
I
Daredevil's
think,
point of view.
yeah, it was cool, but I think what I had in my head was different. And I almost wonder if it would have benefited from just letting you imagine what it could look like. Because in my head, he sees in 360. Like in my head, his perspective is not at all like ours because he's not seeing light. He's seeing uh, air movement. And he's seeing sound and defining shape, and he's seeing like I don't know all this other stuff. And I kind of almost feel like you can't render. And I know I'm saying that about a character who's been in comics for you know 70 years, but I don't know. What are your thoughts, Carl? Do you feel like he's it's beneficial to see all that?
Um, I think it makes for a cool scene, and
That's true.
I think it like in the cartoon they show it as like it's a red radar sense, like it's like
Right.
night vision.
And I like
You
what
know,
the Netflix show does better.
yeah, that's what I
I
mean. I think all the different versions, and I think even in the movie where it's blue, it creates a cool visual. And but honestly, they don't utilize it that much. It's always like one scene.
oh well because that effect has to be super expensive to make.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They always like just show it for a second and then they cut away from it. So like it that's my criticism. Like it's just from a writing standpoint. I'm like, if you're gonna introduce that, make it relevant to the plot. But a
Sure.
lot of the time they don't. They do not.
Yeah,
But hey, it looks cool.
it does look cool.
It's cool.
Carl,
Yes.
I need you're a teacher. Give me some feedback on this spotting of blacks I did on Matt's body here.
That's. I think it's cool. Your light source is on the left, and you're doing your drags out from where you're spotting your blacks are kind of all pointing towards your light source, which is what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
Uh,
Do I need to do more like down here? Like should this be solid?
I would drop a little bit. I would commit to that,
I can
like a little
commit.
bit more under the D. Is that what you're talking about? Like where his like a six pack is or whatever.
Matt's six pack right under his big D.
Uh, it's double D's.
Oh no, this one he's just got the one big D. It's this is yellow, baby.
You're doing that. You're doing the classic. That's right.
He's just got that big D in
Damn it.
in Daredevil Young. Is that what these are called? Dragouts?
Oh no. I got some brain fog on it. Yeah, right now.
Don't mess it up, Carl. All right, we're gonna say that's good enough. Let me just do his arms.
Yeah, they are not called dragouts. I'm trying to think of the term. It's not. It's not coming to me.
It's all right. Contact
There's
at issuescartoons.com.
there's a way more official way of.
It's probably named after some artist, like all the other things. Some artist did it.
Oh, fix that. Or as Todd would say, when in doubt, black it out.
The Todd Father.
Yeah, the Todd father. Apparently, that's his advice on comic book inking: is when in doubt, black it out.
Well,
Go back with some white out though on that.
that makes some sense to me. Would you say Todd is like who do you emulate? I feel like you talk about Todd McFarlane a lot.
I do like Todd a lot. I think like as a young man, like yeah, love Todd's stuff. Um, there's so much more out there though besides him though, and I feel like some people get hung up on Todd, like he's like the end all or something. And there's so
Yeah.
much, there's so much more out there. There's so much more out there than Marvel, even too. You know what I mean? Like there's just like I don't
What?
know. I just yeah. I think
No,
if
I hear that.
yeah, if I have any criticism, it's that people get hung up on. But I get it. I mean, a lot of those people I've heard say that like come from that bygone era of um, the speculator boom
Right.
and stuff, and like that was their era. That's when they read comics, like when everybody else did. We're kind of like in post a world that's
Sure.
like post popularity. I mean, like Absolute Batman only sells like 400,000 copies or something. You know,
Right.
it's like it's just a different time, is what I'm getting at. I'm not knocking Absolute Batman either. I'm just saying books sell way less than they used to.
All right. Let's do some drags on that. That.
I don't know. Did that answer your question?
No, I think so. So okay, so it's Todd to a degree. Who would you say? Because you say there's more than just Marvel, which is obviously something I agree with. Um, who would you say then is like when you need to like figure out how to draw something, or you need to figure out, or like what inspires you like to pick up a pen? I mean, there are obviously the ones that we could all name, but I'm just interested in who are like.
Someone I actually like pick up their stuff to try to emulate it quite a bit, like recently. That I can name off the top of my head is Paul Smith. Um,
Great.
and there's like that. I think it's X-Men Ashes to Ashes. I will pick that up and look through it. Um, I love looking at like Kevin Eastman to get inspired. Like I love all the Ninja Turtles stuff.
I see that.
Yeah, Kyle, who's somebody for you? Who's a big influence contemporary for you?
Well, I don't know if we can call him contemporary because sadly he's passed. But I mean, anytime I need to like get some inspiration, I do look at a lot of Darwin Cook.
Yeah,
Um, but beyond, I mean, Chris Somney would be another one who's you know more currently working. Um, but I do like the kind of simple line. Um, I like that kind of simplicity in storytelling, which you don't get a whole lot of in comics these days. A lot of it tries to over render and overcomplicate, and there's versions of that I really like. Um, but I think my mostly hindered by my own ability, but also by my taste, is that kind of simple, clean line. Um, so anytime I can try to riff on a guy like Cook or um, oh, I don't know, like Leo Romero or
so
um,
you're more like style over rendering.
oh yeah,
You know,
no,
the simpler.
clarity.
I shouldn't
I
call
say
it
clarity,
style. Like you're more like
clarity.
simplicity and energy over detail, right?
Absolutely. My whole thing is the comics is a storyteller's medium. It is not strictly an artist's medium, as much as we as artists may want to think it is. If you draw a pretty picture and no one can tell what's happening, it's a bad comic. Um, and so whenever I make something, my goal is not to make it necessarily realistic or even pretty. My goal is for it to be clear, and so the people who do that best are guys like Darwin Cook. I mean Alex Toth, Mike Allred. Um, if it reads, and by that I mean like you can tell what the image is trying to convey, it's a successful comics image. So that's kind of what I aspire toward. I don't always nail it, but and even Kirby is that way. Kirby is very expressionistic. He's very abstract in some of his renderings, and that's probably one of the reasons why I really like him. But also just an immaculate storyteller. So my interest is less in style, like you say, and it's more in um, understanding, like in comprehension. If that makes any sense to anybody who's listening.
You're just trying to communicate.
Yes, comics is a communicative medium.
Yeah, I think that is more important. I think trying to communicate what's on the panel is more important than communicating a bunch of detail that nobody knows what it is.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to knock anyone who's more realistic or who's striving for that kind of style. There's room for both. My taste and the kind of comics I like to read, by and large, and that's not always the case. I love a wide variety of comics, but the ones that I consider my favorites and the ones that I hold up as kind of the best examples of the medium tend to be more often than not guys like even Tim Sale or John Romita Jr. who can have good renderings, but the point isn't the rendering. Like the storytelling comes first. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's fair.
Anyway,
That's definitely And John Romita Jr. talks about that all the time. The storytelling trumps. He even says the storytelling trumps his style. Which I mean, like we talk about John Romita Jr. in depth during Daredevil Week. We talk about his seminal story, Man Without Fear,
Yes.
with Frank Miller. Uh, that
And
is,
I would, yes, I would love to read more of his Daredevil run. The Ann Nocenti, John Romita Jr. run
mm,
is something that's been on my list forever. I would love to read that someday. And I know they're going to come out with an omnibus very soon.
yeah.
It might even be out in time for the TV show, which I'm going to have to start scrimping and saving to make sure I can get a hold of one because I really want one. But I just have so much respect for that guy. Just incredible, incredible talent.
Totally agree. Nothing wrong with John Romita Jr. Solid cartoon. Been doing it for a long time. He's worked on a lot of really good books.
Yep. All right, Carl. I have another input opportunity for you.
Okay, what you got?
All right. So I'm using. I am currently using the Color Lab package from Retro Supply.
Oh yeah.
So right now I have Daredevil in yellow and red. But some of the renderings, I think, including Tim Sale. I don't know. Tim Sale kind of draws him. Maybe I'll just keep it red. I was going to say that my action figure here has him brown, yellow, and red. Do we like the brown or do we like
Mm,
the red?
hmm. Get do reddish brown. Looks like. I hmm. I like how you
And
made the
that,
belt brighter. Does Tim Sell do that?
I think I got this action figure had the bright red belt, the bright red D, the bright red holster, and the dots were all bright red, and then everything around it was brown. So if we look at Tim Sale, gosh, look at this book. Oh, it's gorgeous. He does spotted blacks for a lot of the vest, and he doesn't spot the D or the belt or the holster, and so it does make it pop that way. So that's how he achieves that. It doesn't look like he does strictly brown. So maybe the solution then is to do red and then add a thicker spotted black here.
Hmm.
Uh, that might be the solution. Although I do like how that brown, the brown makes me reminds me of D Man, who is a Z list Captain America / Avengers character who I love. Um, and he just stole Daredevil's costume and Wolverine's mask and made his own superhero costume, and it is brown. Um, I'm pretty sure. So we'll try doing the red, and we'll just kind of bring out this spotted black. And then I'll do a quick background, and then I think we'll probably have to wrap after that.
Okay.
Because I'm told that food is here,
Yeah.
and
All right. Well,
you
Blind
can't
Warrior's
say.
got to eat.
Well, yeah, for sure. It's B Dubs also, so I gotta jump on that. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks good. I'll even add a little more, give that a little more shape,
I just erased. I'm tired. I just erased her nose. I was like,
bro.
I was
I mean,
like,
you can still do a good. You can still do a good.
oh, that's
You know,
fine. I sketch lightly. I sketch lightly. You know, nothing's a big loss for me when I'm
no, man, you're drawing.
drawing. Trying to get to that final thing, no matter what. All right.
I did too much there.
Yeah, that looks totally wrong. All right, we're gonna wipe that out. What I just did. I don't know about all that. About that, let that dry. And this is fine. I'll probably take these drawings, this one and the bullseye, and color them on Procreate later. I like this Presto white out too because it dries so fast.
I'll have to remember that for whenever I get brave enough to do analog.
I wasn't always the artist without fear. There was an accident. There was a man. I had to jump and
Yeah,
find
you had
my
to take
way.
this, yeah, before a bunch of India ink spilled on him.
Yeah, yeah. There was a bunch of shipment of radioactive ink with a huge tariff, and
Careful.
save this man's life. And then it spilled all over me.
You know what I love about you, Carl? There's so much I love about you, but what I love is when we started this, one of the things you were like, okay, we just have to like be careful not to be too opinionated about like the world. And I was like, yeah, totally agree. And then the one who always ends up saying their opinion about the world is you. And I love it. I think it's perfect.
I was talking about myself. I wasn't
Right, yeah,
worried
all
about
the
you.
tariffs.
It was a mental. It was a mental reminder to me. I was just like, yeah.
like
It's also the
all right.
scream without fear. Okay. I could keep going with this Electra a little bit more. I could keep going with her little
This is the
details.
last time I'm gonna ask your opinion one more time, Carl. This is the
Okay,
last
what you
one, I
got?
promise.
What you got?
Okay, here we go. Red, yellow.
I like the yellow. The
I do
red.
too.
The red. I think the red you lose a little bit of it. It gets blended all
I think
together.
it, I think red is better as the accent instead of the feature. All
Yeah.
right, so that means the last thing I have to do for this drawing is his skin tone, and then I can call it done.
All right. So I'm gonna just say to everybody before we bounce off of here, you know, check out um, our episodes on the week without fear if you haven't already. Um,
Well, at this point, they haven't. Although, if you're listening in the future, certainly.
yeah, and we'll be continuing our coverage of Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah,
As well.
and I hope everyone here subscribes, follows the podcast. Tell people who are into this about what we're working on and what we are putting out into the world. Because Carl and I are really proud of it. We're working really hard to deliver content that we're both proud of, and I think we are. If I can speak for, I guess myself, but I'll speak for Carl too. I think we're really happy with what we put out into the world.
No,
And I,
a lot of time and energy.
yeah, for real.
Yeah,
Um, and it's been fun, and it's a lot of work, and we are excited to finally, after, because we've been recording Carl since October.
yeah,
You know,
secretly, in secret.
in secret, we've been recording since October, and we have such a backlog of material that we're going to be rolling out over the next forever. And we're excited that you all get to finally kind of see the fruits of our labor. And we hope you like it. And more than that, we hope you follow along for more of it.
There's Electra, and I'll hold Bullseye up to the camera one last time too.
Yeah, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna pull my setup down so I can see. I'm just trying to. I don't know if this white is necessary. I do like highlights like this, and I think it might actually take away from it. I want to get rid of it. All right, let's see what you got, Carl.
Okay,
Sure. Oh, that looks great,
we got Electra.
Carl. That's fantastic. That was the
Thank
first
you.
time you drawn Electra.
Yep, first Electra
Dang, dude,
and Bullseye.
love it. I love it. That's phenomenal.
Having fun.
All right,
Having fun now.
that was fun.
Hey, we
Uh,
got the three characters. We got Electra, Bullseye, and Daredevil.
yeah, look at
What do
that.
you
Hey,
want?
yeah, we got all three of them right there.
More do you want?
What more do you want?
I'll take
If you want more
Daredevil for
Daredevil,
now. it's like
Thanks, buddy.
a lot of movement. It really shows that audience that if you spend all your time on one drawing, it comes out better.
Well, if you want to be painstaking and meticulous and a perfectionist,
No, it came out
then
good.
eventually you can take twice the amount of time to get you know a decent rendering. I will say I've done, I think this is my third Daredevil I've ever drawn, and I think this is my favorite.
It's a good one.
So, are his eyes red in the book? No. Oh, they're yellow. This toy is lying to me. Uh, Carl, this is fun. We're gonna do more of this.
Yeah, for sure. More streams, more drawing. We're gonna
So
we're gonna
go ahead and
bounce
put.
out of here though. Kyle, anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I want you to plug your stuff.
You can find me at www.carllucasdraws.com. I have mini count. Hold on, let me grab a few. Hold them up to the camera while we're here.
Yeah.
Um,
Here's some of Carl's offerings. I actually have them on my desk.
yeah, I have Toonami Zine, which premiered at SPX this year. It's just a fun zine about my opinions on Toonami culture and all the shows. Outlaw Star. I got Lynx, and I have Shogun Bear in the House of Horrors. He's a samurai polar bear that fights other samurai polar bears. It's very TMNT inspired. It's very fun. But Kyle, what do you got? What do you got?
Oh man, you were prepared and had all your stuff ready to go.
I just happen to have the box next to me.
I have all of your stuff ready. I don't have any of my stuff.
Hold
But
on.
let's see, Kofi.com/ Kyle Windle. You can get my books. You can get digital copies of my books that are all pay what you want. And you can also order physical copies. You can also commission me for private or for personalized drawings. Oh, there we go. There they are. Look at those. Thunderduck, Mad Science Rejects. I also have Cornelius Armstrong, Adventures in Antics. Um, and you can also, for the show, follow us on Spotify or YouTube. We are also on Instagram and Blue Sky for all of our socials. And you can email us at contact@issuescartoons.com if you have any comments, questions, or requests or feedback. Rate and review us on Spotify. Make sure you're sharing, and sharing is caring. And yeah, anything else, Carl?
That's everything. More issues to
Okay.
come.
Stay tuned, everybody.